Welcome back to my over 50 career journey. It's not over yet. I'm just getting started. However, if you've been following along, I'm now starting the fourth decade of my life. All of my children are now in school and I'm writing online. It's great. I'm having a great time. Lots of perks, lots of parties, lots of people. It's just not consistent enough where I'm making a good salary. So I decided to go back to work full time, and I don't really know if I want to go back into a salon. So a friend of mine gets me a temp job in a law firm. It's only 3 months. I'm covering for somebody who's on maternity leave. And the staff was great. I loved working there, and they gave me some great advice. They said, don't go backwards. Never go backwards. Take what you're learning now and move forward in your career and advance and get the money that you deserve. So when the person who I was covering for came back, they got me a job at another law firm. Well, I lasted there days, literally days. The lawyer was a pig. It was one of those communal law spaces or communal office spaces. So my office was half the size of my home office. It was like a little cubicle down at the far end of a hallway, and the owner of the law firm, he was about 2 hallways away. Now, I don't mind going to his office. I'm getting my steps in. Cool. But he calls me up on the work phone and he says, "Can you come into my office? I need you to make a car payment from my wife's car." Okay, sure. So I go all this way. And the reason I'm emphasizing all this way is because of what he made me do. I go into his office and his desk, say the desk is now behind me where I am. And I come in and I walk in and I'm facing this way and he's to my left. And he says, "Can you not get my bag?" He didn't prepare it for me. He said, "Can you go into my bag," which is kind of like where I would be sitting right now on a couch. Now, mind you, he's behind me. So I have to bend over so my little butt is in his face. I know it looks like I'm heavy, but this is just a gigantic sweater. Anyway, my little butt is in his face. And he's totally staring at me as I'm going into his bag, which he could have gotten the stuff out for me to take back to my office to make his wife's payment. So anyway, I called my husband. I was like, I can't believe this man just did that. And I would think I was more upset at myself for allowing it. I left. I decided, I got so pissed off that I'm going to take the LSATs, which I did. And I applied, not the next day, but within the course of a few years while I was doing other things. I applied to one school only, my alma mater, Hofstra. I was put on a wait list. I wasn't passionate enough for it to go apply to other schools. At the same time, I was doing other things. So after I left that school, I went to... after I left that law office, I found a job online and I applied for an admissions agent for a cosmetology school. Back to what I know, but not doing hair per se, because I didn't really want to work behind the chair anymore. They hire me as an educator because she found me online. She saw my online persona that I had created all these years working online, which was great, right? So that was a perk. That was a plus for me. Unfortunately, the school closed, and I loved what I was doing. I quickly moved to hair replacement, which guess who was a client? That lawyer. And a lot of their clients, not all of them, because they had a variety of clients, and some were wonderful people, but they were behind a closed door, and a lot of the men were touchy-feely. I left, went back to cosmetology education. Went to one school, went right to another school in New York City, and I became the school director. Unfortunately, my parents got sick, and then my parents died. I then moved as a salon manager for Ulta Beauty. COVID happened. I still remained on with the company. However, they combined the prestige manager and the salon manager into the service manager at the time. I have no interest in retail, so I took the severance and I got my master's degree. And then I became the executive director of another school, cosmetology school in Brooklyn, where I lived. Then I wrote a guide, which I'll show you. I wrote this guide. It's a little book. It's a little handbook. It's about 60-something pages or so. The Future Professional's Guide to Cosmetology is beauty school for you. Because I saw a lot of people leaving when they decided cosmetology school wasn't for them, and this was a private school and you had to pay tuition. So I really focused on that book, the difference between private and public schools, if you can go to a BOCES. Parents, if you have a child in high school thinking about it, I would suggest at least have them go through it in high school so you don't have to pay. And then they're saddled with tuition and student loans possibly afterwards. So get the book. The book is cheap. The digital version is like $3.99. Then I'm moving to New Jersey. We're moving out of state, and I don't know if I really want to be in this industry anymore. I'm not loving it. And I did get hired as a director of another school, or whatever they decided to call me on any given day. School supervisor, director. They changed their mind as often as they changed their underwear. But I cannot say what school it was. I unearthed some nefarious activity. So boom, out, because the manager, school director, whatever I was, would have been responsible. I was not taking the fall for these people. I took off. Not really sure again what I want to do. I said, well, I have to work. So I get a job as a medical receptionist. Oh my God, I was miserable. Because I had been in management for so long. I had been helping people for so long. And now I'm just sitting there behind a desk where we're literally told to be quiet all day long. And I'm like, I can't do that. That's not who I am. It's not part of my soul. It's not part of my being. It's not what I've done all these years as an educator, as a hairstylist. Just left. Went and got a job in management for a professional salon professional retail company. And I was just a glorified stock clerk is what I was. And I was truly miserable until one day my angel came in. And I would like literally cry every morning on the way in. And I was just working to make money. And then this woman came in, and she asked me some questions, and I gave her some advice, and we were having a conversation about hair and hair color. And she looked at me and she's like, why are you here? And just like that, I paused. And I reflected when I got home, and I was just like, obviously she went into more detail about why I didn't belong there, and based upon the conversation that we had. And then I really did some reflection. I really went deep inside. And I decided I wanted to go back to my roots, where I originally started. So if you were following along, when I went to college to start for therapy, to be a psychologist. And I looked into coaching. I fell in love with coaching, especially when I started doing it. And all of these jobs, all of these things I have done, I have found that I love to be of service to people. And with my students, and watching them succeed and watching them grow, and even with staff members, and helping them to achieve their fullest potential, that's what I do with coaching. And I returned to my roots, and I love it. And I'm not over. It's not over. I want to thank all my students because they called me Miss D. And so now I'm coaching with Miss D. But I'm not done yet. So your journey, whatever it is, let me help you get there. This is wonderful. I am having such a fabulous time doing this. I hope I've inspired somebody. And check out my website, coachingwithmsd.com. And I hope to talk to you real soon.